Hi. Yeah, this is kind of my first time doing something like this, so just please take that into consideration. Okay, so first and foremost, let me tell you a bit about me. Okay, my name's R.A.Y and this is R.A.Y Mind. This is my channel that I've set up in order to, get a conversation starting surrounding mental health and well-being. I felt like, that was something important for me to do because I am a sufferer of mental health issues. So I feel like I should, be talking about it, especially as a black woman, young black queer woman. This is, a chance for me to really sort of tell my story, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Before I begin, let's just, like, comment, leave comments, subscribe to my channel, because next time I'm going to be talking about ways to deal with your mental health issues during this COVID era. And that's one thing that I've, pretty much struggled with during this time. Excuse me if I'm looking around, I'm looking at like different things, like I can't really like look at one thing at one is. Anyway, all right, some information about myself. I was born and raised in Southwest London. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I've lived here my whole life. Never really ventured outside of London. I've lived in Canterbury for university, but we're not at that bit yet. We're gonna get to that bit. So let's slow down. So in terms of my childhood, I never had a rough childhood, I'll say. My childhood wasn't rough. Like, I mean, I got everything I wanted and needed. Well, that's debatable. I got everything I wanted. I guess I didn't get everything I needed in terms of emotional support. No disrespect to my mother and my father, they tried their best, but clearly I needed a bit of extra help, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so yeah, I was quite spoiled. I was quite a spoiled child. Like, I had, everything. Like, I had videos, DVDs, Barbies, toys, games, Bratz dolls, all them kind of things. And I used to, this is something I'm a little bit ashamed of, I used to be disgustingly obsessed with Dora the Explorer, to the point where I would ask people to call me Dora. Like, legit, I'd ask people to call me Dora like Dora. I don't know why my mum let me do that. Yeah, but during like my preteen era, that's when things started to go left for me mentally. For instance, when I was a child, I would do things like, I don't know, I'd put on like my clothes like the wrong way, and just sometimes instead of getting ready, I'd sort of just sit there and contemplate, and my mum would get irritated with me because she's like, why do I have to keep constantly telling you to, pick up the pace, pick up the speed, I got really angry, like from the age of 10 till about, from the age of 10, I decided to, well, did I decide? I don't know. I mean, it's debatable because, I mean, as a 10-year-old, can I really make those kinds of decisions? But when I was 10, it was decided that I would go and live with my grandmother because, sorry, I got a notification. Probably should have turned those off. Yeah, it was decided that I'd go to live with my grandmother because me and my mom didn't really get on too well, because I was very just angry, and yeah, I was an angry child. I would just, you know, kick off, she'd call it, you know, like I just get so like shouting. There'd be shouting matches in the house. I mean, even up until just last year, let me not even lie, there were like shouting matches going on, you know, in the house. But yeah, I moved in with my grandma, and I lived with her from, you know, well, I'm living with her again now, but I lived with her during that time from year 7 to year 9. So that's like a prime time. That's like that transition into teen, you know, that kind of thing. So I mean, of course I saw my mom, like, but obviously I didn't like see her, like she wasn't around, like living in the house with me, so I didn't really have that, you know, I couldn't really go to her and be like, Mom, you know, at school. I mean, I guess I could call her, but, you know, I mean, it just wasn't the same. But, you know, I only lived with my grandma for those 2 years, because obviously just because I move doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, whatever's going on inside of me is, you know, all of a sudden gonna fix, because that's not how it works. So I continued to just be, you know, disruptive, just, you know, get angry really quickly. Not obviously, to this day still, I'm still got quite a temper, but as, you know, as a 22-year-old woman now, I've learnt to sort of maintain that better. In school, I was like disruptive as well. Like I would get up and like leave the classroom and things like that, and I just couldn't focus. I couldn't focus on anything. Like I just couldn't focus. Even now, the way I'm telling this story is just it's not linear, because my brain is just trying to get everything out. But I mean, obviously that's not how it works. But during school, I would get up and leave class. If I'm not feeling it, I couldn't focus. Things like math, science weren't really my forte. I loved art, I love English, still to this day I love art, I love English, I love painting, I love writing, drawing, things like that. Yeah, I was a very creative child. But during year 9, I believe it was, I finally got diagnosed with ADHD, and that is, if you don't know what ADHD is, which I'm sure most people do by now, because it's just, you know, I mean, everybody knows what it is, but, you know, it stands for attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Now, me and my mom debate as to whether I have ADHD or ADD, but I mean, because according to her, I wasn't hyperactive, but I feel as though my angry outbursts, that counts as, you know, like a hyperactive child. But, you know, I guess to each their own. I feel like I know myself. I know what I am. I know how my brain works. So yeah. Yeah. So after getting that diagnosis, everything started to make sense. Like, there's a reason why I couldn't focus. There's a reason why, you know, I got so, you know, angry, have these outbursts, you know, and things started to make sense. But I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that things got better. They put me on Concerta. Now, as a 13, 14-year-old girl, taking these... Okay, sorry, I didn't explain myself. Concerta is a specific drug that individuals with ADHD take. Like, it's a controlled drug. It's just... it's supposed to help you focus, and yeah, that's what it did. It helped me focus, but to the point where I felt like a robot. Like, I just felt so on edge. Like, I just felt so, and it killed my appetite as well, which, I mean, it's not such a bad thing, to be honest. Let's be real. I mean, anyway, yeah, it killed my appetite. It just sort of took away it. I feel like it took away a bit of my childhood, because I didn't really get to be a child because I had to take these drugs to help me focus in school so I could learn. I also got extra time in school, which, you know, was great, I guess, but I mean, that's really all I got in school. I didn't really get any sort of emotional support during school to try and help me to tackle these, you know, feelings I've got. I didn't really enjoy school. I went to an all-girls school, and yeah, maybe one day I'll tell you some stories about my school days, but as of now, I don't really want to go into that too much. Yeah, but my whole life has basically been me dealing with my mental health, you know. If it's not my ADHD, it's depression. I developed serious depression the end of 2019. I mean, I knew I've been depressed for a while, but I got a proper diagnosis during the end of 2019, like beginning of December time, and they put me on, you know, the antidepressant called Childline. Once they put me on that, things, you know, started to pick up, and because I was in my 3rd year of uni, this was like a really important time where I needed to focus. You know, uni, let me backtrack a bit. I'll tell you a bit more about uni. So uni, I wouldn't take it back for the world. However, I do believe that university was a very stressful time. Like, I went from living with my mom and my sister to living on my own with people I didn't know too well in 1st year. You know, it was just a new environment, and it took a toll on my mental health a lot. Like, I mean, we've all got bad habits, but, you know, I picked up a really bad habit. Well, I say picked up, but it's not necessarily true, because I was already smoking before I went to uni. But when I got to uni, that's when I really started to smoke cannabis, by the way, not cigarettes. I'm not judging the cigarette smokers. I mean, you do you. Pick your poison and do you, because anyway, so yeah, I really, you know, started heavily smoking it because it was so easily accessible, and I didn't have to really, you know, sneak out to smoke. I could just smoke in my room, you know. It was just so easy for me to fall back on. Like, it was a way for me to sort of dissociate from my surroundings. So taking that in was really, you know, it was just an easy escape for me. But obviously my bank account, as well as my mental health, suffered. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I stopped, because I mean, I still smoke to this day. However, I'm not encouraging smoking. I'm not encouraging it. Don't start. If you're thinking about starting, don't stop, because once you start, especially if you're like me and you've got an addictive personality, once you start, you won't be able to stop. I know what people say, oh, weed isn't addictive, it's just, you know, you can develop a dependency on it. I mean, you can get addicted to anything, really. So that argument to me is kind of invalid, because you can definitely get addicted to weed. I'm so sorry. Uni was okay. First year was great. Second year, third year, especially because during third year, in fact on Christmas Eve, I lost my dad. My dad passed away, and I mean, I'm not going to go too much into that because I don't really want to, there's a lot of emotion there, so I don't really want to go into that too much because it's still quite fresh. I mean, yeah, but that really pushed me over the edge in a negative and a positive way. It's really messed up because it's like, well, not messed up, but it's really weird because obviously I had just been diagnosed with depression. I was on antidepressants. I felt just, it was a lot, and I was trying to finish my degree at the same time, so plus global pandemic happened right after that. So I'd lost my dad. I was trying to, function during a pandemic, and I had to finish my degree. So it was just a lot. However, I did finish with a 2-2. I know I could have done better. However, I'm just glad it's over. I'm proud of myself. I'm glad that I've finished. I'm glad that I don't have to do any more sort of work in that sense because I finished it. Despite all the odds that were against me, I finished my degree and I'm proud of myself. Okay. I still struggle with my mental health, like, obviously. But like in very recent times, even just August gone, I, took myself to the hospital because I felt as if I was a danger to myself. Not necessarily to others, but just to myself. And I felt as though I needed to get some help, and I feel as though if you've ever felt as though you've needed to get help in that sense, then you should definitely not feel ashamed. There's absolutely nothing to be ashamed about. Okay, this is what we need to be able to talk to people about how we feel. Okay, I mean, especially I'm not discouraging anybody else, but I know for a fact I can speak for us because I am one. I know for a fact black people and their sort of approach towards mental health is not the best at all. So I feel as though, especially when you're struggling with mental health in a black household, you really need to speak up to somebody even on the outside, etc. And you should consider doing that, definitely, because it's not your fault. As much as people like to make you believe, like, I know I've been told this a couple of times, that I'm lazy, I'm just it's all in my head. I mean, well, duh, that's why it's mental illness. But anyway, and it's not something that you can control. Just when you're so vulnerable mentally, it can be so easy to take on everything that everyone's saying to you. Oh my gosh, you just snap out of it, it's all in your head, you're so lazy, you're useless, blah 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 blah. I'm telling you now, eliminate all those voices, because none of it is your fault. Okay, so in recent times, I also got another diagnosis, which sort of, I understood that when I got diagnosed with ADHD, I understood that diagnosis and it helped me to understand myself. But getting this second diagnosis, it really made me think, wow, now I understand it was the wind. Anyway, after getting this diagnosis, that's when it really sort of helped me to realize more things about myself. Like, I very recently got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, also known as emotional unstable personality disorder, which I personally don't like that. So we're going to stick to borderline personality disorder. And a lot of the symptoms, I had read the symptoms beforehand, before getting diagnosed, and I was like, do you know what, this really does sound like me. Like, a lot of the symptoms I had, and I said to my friend, I said to a few of my friends, I think, you know, I might have borderline personality. And, you know, to finally get that diagnosis, I was like, wow, okay, yes, I really do know myself. And, you know, it really helped me to accept myself a bit more and understand, okay, maybe I'm not just, you know, all of these things that I was saying to myself, and maybe I'm not just, you know, a mess. Maybe, you know, it helped me to really understand, this is why I act the way I am, this is why I am the way I am. I'm not saying it defines me, because there's a lot more to me than just, you know, having all of these different mental health problems. There's much more than that, but it does, you know, involve my personality a lot, because I mean, it's a personality disorder. So I feel as though if you've got like a feeling about something, you should always kind of pursue it, especially to do with your mental health, because you never know. It's so important to get, you know, psychological help and things of that nature. Now, yeah, I feel as though, yes, my life has been tough. I haven't always had it, you know, easy. Of course, my childhood was good, but, you know, things within my head haven't been the greatest. But I wouldn't change any of it. I really wouldn't, because it has made me who I am today. If I didn't go through all of that, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of this camera telling you my story. I wouldn't be making this channel, and I wouldn't be, you know, I wouldn't be doing any of this. I'm trying to help other people now, because I feel as though it's sort of my calling. And I completely forgot to say this, but the reason why I named my channel R.A.Y Mind, R.A.Y Mind, was because it's first of all, it stands for Refresh and Activate Your Mind. That's what it stands for. And also because my name is Sheree and Ray, and Ray was also my dad's name. And I feel like doing this is sort of a way to honor him in a way, because, you know, I just want something to dedicate to him so he can be proud of me, you know. And I know he's watching me. I know it. I feel it every single day. Nobody can tell me anything else. I know he's watching me. So that's not the thing. I just want to make sure that he's proud of me, and that I'm doing all that I can to honor his name. I want him to look down and be like, that's my daughter. That is my daughter doing good things in this world, trying to help people. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help people, because I know That's the kind of person he was. He was a helpful person. Anybody needed help, you could call him, he'll be there in a heartbeat. You can but yeah, I'm not going to get too much into that because obviously that's still a very sensitive thing. But I really do hope that you come back to my channel and you subscribe to my channel and, you know, come back for more content. Like, next time I'm going to be talking about some coping mechanisms that you can do, you know, at home to deal with, you know, your mental health during this COVID era, because I haven't even spoken about COVID. Sometimes I forget that we are living in a global pandemic, but you know, whatever. Yeah, because I don't know about you, but this pandemic has really pushed me to the edge mentally. It really has. I forget sometimes, I dissociate sometimes from it. Like, I forget, someone's like, oh yeah, I can't do that because COVID. I'm like, oh yeah, that. But yes, next time that I will be telling you about things to do to cope with COVID. Also, if you're feeling, you know, like you're on edge and, you know, you're having trouble coping, I'm gonna put some numbers and things in the description. I'm from the UK, so I'm gonna be putting UK numbers, but I'll try and see what else I can find, other links I can put for other places. I don't really know where people are watching from, but I'm gonna put that in so that, you know, people have something to, you know, to go to if they feel as if they're not doing too well. And you know, there's no harm in calling those numbers. Like, I used to feel like, oh, I used to feel a bit of a way for calling like Samaritans and things like that, but they are there to help you. They are there to help you, and there's no shame in getting help. I'm telling you right now, okay? I would rather somebody reach out to me than suffer in silence. I'd rather that. Like, I would rather somebody call me, text me every hour of every day to let me know that they're feeling, you know, like shit, rather than suffer in silence, because that's not acceptable. Nobody should feel that they should have to just keep things inside. So yeah, thank you for listening to my story. Subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna try and be consistent with uploading, but I don't know, we'll see. We'll just see how this one goes. But you know, please don't hesitate to, I'm gonna put my my socials in the description as well. So don't hesitate to contact me if you know, just wanna, you know, I don't mind hearing people's stories either. I will listen to your story. I will read your story if you send me a DM or on Insta, or I don't have a Twitter. I've got personal Twitter, but I'm not gonna put my personal Twitter in everything. So I've got a Insta. I'm gonna put my Insta in the description, and yeah, I'll see you next time for more. Thank you for listening.